Hi, I'm Mac, and I have been living on the road for about 3 years now. And that makes me an expert pretty much at living on the road. So I'm about to answer your top 5 van life questions with my personal experiences. Hopefully. Question number 1. When traveling with another person, how do you communicate that you need privacy or a moment away from each other? Owen and I have been together for about 10 years and have been on the road for about 3.5-ish years of those 10. So naturally, we enjoy being together. We're totally fine being in close spaces with one another, but there's always going to be instances where you probably want a little bit of space. Say you're not getting along, personality conflicts, what have you. Ways that you can give each other space are by allowing them to go for a walk or a hike or to the climbing gym or to a yoga class, out to eat alone, things like that, or even a movie. Yeah, just activities without you. But the thing is, when you live in a vehicle, your vehicle is your home, it's everything. So even if you're giving each other space, you still have to work together to make that happen. Have to coordinate with dropping the person off, and if you say you're gonna pick them up, make sure you do that. In the end, when you live on the road, everything requires teamwork. And if your team is not working, sometimes space is just what needs to happen to get everything back on track. So don't be afraid to give the person space. Be sure to hear them out and what their needs are, and don't take those needs personally. So help them get space, however it is that they ask for it. Work together, because sometimes a little bit of time apart can bring you closer together. One more thought, there's always one more thought, is that if you need something, you can't be afraid to ask for it. Communication is the only way that any of this can happen, so don't be afraid to ask for what you need. Question number 2. How do you keep the romance alive when you live so closely with one another? Celebrate the small stuff. This can be huge, particularly if you're trying to save money on the road, you're out in a remote area and don't have access to things. There's a ton of really small stuff that we do just to kind of make things special. So for example, we do something called an ice cream social. It's usually if we've had a hard day of work, we'll go to the grocery store and buy like the $1 small little ice creams and go sit in the parking lot, eat them together, gripe about how hard work was, and call it an ice cream social. Or we'll go out to lunch for pizza and call it a pizza party. Or sometimes we do something called Fancy Feast, and we're really trying to make Fancy Feast a thing. It's not cat food. It's a sunset, a bottle of wine, fancy pairings, a beautiful view, and you just sit there and enjoy them and call it dinner, talk about how much you love each other and what you're doing, and just be positive and enjoy what you got. All of these things sound so dumb when I say them out loud. The thing is, if you really care about each other, it's really easy to find ways to celebrate one another. And when your space is so small, a gift is really not the way to do it. It's just to find ways to surprise each other, however small they may be. They mean a lot. Question number 3. How do you get snail mail? So this is something that I feel like to this day we're constantly learning how to do. We personally get our physical mail through our business manager, which is my mother. And so we have all of our mail go to a family member who sorts it. She also has access to all of our bank accounts to deposit any checks that come in for work or anything like that. And if there's anything that needs immediate attention or anything like that, she'll snap a picture of the mail and then forward it on to us so then we can deal with it in the moment. The great thing about the US Postal Service is something called general delivery. And the general delivery address is usually one particular post office within a zip code. And so what you can do is you can type in the city that you're headed towards and just type in general delivery after it, and it'll tell you the exact address that you need to send it to, and you title it your name, general delivery, and then the address to that particular location of the post office. And I believe that they will hold on to your packages for 2 weeks it is. And so then when we come driving through town, we show up with a photo ID with our name on it, and they hand us our package. So that's been a really great resource for us. In some instances, when you do UPS or FedEx, you can send it to a particular location. And in those instances, again, you show up, you pick up your package, and you move on. There are also services out there that serve as an address where you can have your physical mail sent to you and then deal with it from there. I personally have never used a service like this, but do know people who have and really like them. If that sounds like something that you would need, I urge you to give it a Google, see what's out there, give it a try, and let me know, because I'm curious. Question number 4, how do y'all get internet connection? It says y'all. How we personally stay connected via the internet, because we do work full time, is we have a Verizon cell phone unlimited plan. For us, it is enough to hotspot if we're within cell phone service to our computers and work from there. However, if we're moving large files around, such as a delivery day for a particular project and more service is needed, a lot of times in those instances, we will either go to a public library. Cannot stress how much you should not forget about the public library system. They're amazing, they're quiet, and the internet is usually good. So you can go to a library or a coffee shop. There's certain chains out there, of whom I will not name, that have great internet, and unfortunately we use a lot. As a side note, we have used a pay per day wireless internet connection, and we have not found those to be as strong or as reliable as we want them to be. I will say that they're great for international travel when doing travel within a large city. Anything outside of a city or in remote areas, we have found them to be kind of a huge disappointment. So I guess it just depends in the end what you're looking for and where you're looking for your internet. Question number 5, how does the hygiene stuff work? Like, what do you do for a toilet? What about showering? What about pooping? This is kind of a big question with a lot of parts to it, so we'll go through it. But lucky enough for you, I'm an open book and not afraid to talk about poop. So let's start with the bathroom. I have never been shy about the fact that in our 3 years of travel, Owen and I have never had a bathroom on board of any of our vehicles. We personally have omitted them from designs in our builds and have not included them because, frankly, bathrooms take up a lot of space, and that's perfectly usable space for all of our recreational activity gear, which we are unwilling to sacrifice. So for us, a lot of times we are in national forests or national parks or state parks or something like that, and pit toilets are in the vicinity. So be it number 1 or number 2, that is great. However, there are a lot of instances where we are very far away from any sort of bathroom facility, be it anything. If you're out in nature and your situation is number 1, find your way somewhere off the beaten path and go to the bathroom there. Just make sure you take all of your paper products out with you instead of leaving them behind. Just tuck them into your trash can, what have you, and move along. I know that there are things that I lovingly called the she-ness. I think that they're called Go Girl. I have used them and failed miserably at them. I personally do not use them. For nights, after we are tucked in to bed, or if it's cold, rainy, and you just don't want to get out of the van or all the other numerous vehicles that we've had, I use a wide mouth Nalgene. Takes a little bit of practice. I do not, like I said, use the Go Girl or any of those other funnel-like equipment. Just practice. Number 2, a shovel is going to be your best friend. Dig a hole that's deep enough, do what you're gonna do, take out your trash, but make sure you cover that hole back up because it is better for the environment because it will have a better chance of decomposing faster if you bury it. So yeah, if a bear shits in the wood, the bear shits in the woods. All right, showering. I feel like this might actually be our most commonly asked question. And the thing is, there's really not one answer to it. Our showers come from a whole wide array of areas, places. Our showers come from everywhere. The first option that we have is we use a Nemo shower bag. The reason why this thing is great is you can actually use the foot pump to pressurize it. We've used other shower bags before, cheap ones from Walmart, whatever, and they're all gravity fed. We find that you can use less water by using one of these pressurized bags. You just use it by filling it up at water spigot, river, what have you, whatever your source of water is. And the great thing is it compresses down to almost nothing when you're not using it. Another option is you can go to campgrounds and use their showers. Sometimes we're staying at these campgrounds, sometimes we're not. The great thing is typically they're gonna be coin operated and you can have access to these showers whether or not you're staying at the campground. The only question is whether or not the water's actually gonna be hot. Another option is yoga studios, climbing gyms, and regular gyms. The good thing is you can pay to get a workout and you also get a nice clean hot shower out of the deal. There's also lakes and streams. This is typically going to be one of our last resort options just because we try to keep our soap out of the water system as much as possible. If you are going to be doing this, please be sure to use something like Dr. Bronner's that is biodegradable. You cannot adjust the temperature on a stream or river, so you're kind of stuck with what you got on that one. And last but not least, this is probably our most expensive option that we use, but they're really nice. Truck stops. Truck stop showers are probably some of the best out there. Like Love's, Flying J, like those nice travel station style gas stations have amazing hot showers. Typically they're gonna be between $6 and $12 to shower, but Owen and I use the same one and they give you hot towels in an unlimited amount of time and their water is always hot. So I think that that's it. If you have any other options, love to hear them because we're always looking for a shower. In conclusion, as far as the showers are concerned, it feels like our showers are never coming from the same place twice in a row. You just have to stay flexible, figure out what you have in your area as options, and go for whatever you feel like suits your situation best. But just make sure if you're doing something out in nature that you are as respectful to the environment as humanly possible. So that was our personal top 5 most asked questions about van life. I hope that you found this helpful, and I hope to be bringing you guys more videos like this, being as helpful as humanly possible going forward. So if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out. I'm here for you.